2007 FJ Cruiser with a 4-inch lift, and it is time to install a sway bar spacer kit. So as I said, this is a lifted FJ Cruiser. Mine specifically has a 4-inch lift, and I've done everything else except putting sway bar spacers on the front and then putting extended sway bar links on the back. So what I'm going to do today is I have some spacers that they drop the sway bar a little over a half of an inch and they move it forward 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to install those and set up the camera, do a little time-lapse thing, and talk about size of tools are needed and everything. But the kit that I bought is it's from Belkin Motorsports. They're just a company that's on eBay. It's just a spacer and some hardware. The hardware that came with it is it's not a steel that will rust if it's exposed to elements and things like that. So I'm not concerned with that. And the spacer itself is made of aluminum. I may go get some washers just because I want to have a little bit more of a surface area where the bolts go in, because they didn't send me washers. But that'll be later. It looks like I have a little bit of room to add some washers, so that's not going to be that big of a deal. As you can see, there's the sway bar. That's the front of the sway bar, and the spacer actually goes right under here. Like I said, it drops at a half of an inch and it moves it forward a little bit. And if you look, my clearance, because this is a 4-inch lift, I'm running the ARB OME 90,000 front struts. And as you can see, when my wheel is cut all the way, which right now I have it cut all the way to the left, with it cut all the way to the left, my sway bar comes really close to where it's bumping that. So I'm concerned with, as my wheel goes up and down, I'm off-roading, I don't want the sway bar to bump into the coil around the strut. So, and I also want to have the sway bar where it's more level, it's more parallel with the ground than what it is right now. So this is the hardware that came in the box. You have the spacers, and like I said, they're a little over a half of an inch in thickness, and then they shift. This is where it's bolted in to the frame, and this is where the sway bar bolts in and the new mounting surface. So that's kind of self-explanatory, right? You can kind of look at it and see. So this is they go on the vehicle in this direction, so you can't flip it around this way because there's not room. It actually hits another part of the frame. So it goes on like this. So this is the front of the bracket, and this is the rear of the bracket, or the spacer. This is the front of the spacer, and this is the rear of the spacer that's as it sits on the vehicle. They made these this hardware to where there's different threads on the one that goes into the aluminum, and then on the one that goes into the frame. So you can't use this one. You start screwing it in by hand, and it only goes that far. It's a different thread pitch. So, and this is the one that I was saying that I would prefer to have a washer on. So I have a little bit of gap underneath the head of this bolt. This is an 8mm. That's an 8mm bolt. The head of this is 16mm. The 5/8 fits on it fairly snugly too, but I would use 16mm. I don't know if it's a SAE head or if it's a metric head, but 5/8 and 16mm does fit on it. And then this is an 8mm. See, 8mm just kind of slips in there, so that's good. And then my factory bolt size into the oh, by the way, and you don't need the deep socket. You can use your regular shallow socket. That works fine. That's the first one that I grabbed. And then this is a 14mm. That's just to remove the old bolts, the old ones that go into the body. So let's get started. So this whole process should take about 10 minutes. Now you don't want the sway bar to drop. I'm just lowering it very slowly and carefully, and it's gently resting on my tie rods easily. I didn't damage anything. It's just kind of hanging there. Perfect. So, if you don't want to, I was hoping that this would be the case. If you don't want to use these, sorry, I should grab what I'm pointing to. If you don't want to use these, you can use the factory hardware that came with it. A few reasons why you want to do that. One, there's more of a thread surface area with these than there is with these. So you can see, if I stick this one through, you have a lot more thread. So So that's one reason. The other reason, there's more of a surface area on the bottom of this, since this is only aluminum. There's more of a surface area on the bottom of this bolt, on the bottom of the head of it, than there is underneath this. Now, I like having a little more surface area, especially when it comes to aluminum. So, I am not using these, I'll use them on something else. I'm going to go back with the factory bolts. So this, I'm going to thread it in most of the way just by hand, because what I'm doing Alright, so I have a little bit of an issue here. They didn't send me washers, and when I thread this bolt all the way in by hand, I can't tighten this up anymore, so I will have to go and buy washers now. I just don't really want to do that. And now I've got to go buy washers just to act as a little spacer to go between the bottom of the head of this bolt and this bracket, because it didn't come with spacers. Now, just going off of how much play is actually in this, it's not that big of an issue. I don't need two washers stacked up on top of each other. I can get one washer. It's not a good idea to drive it like this, but I am going to get the washers that I need. So I'm going to take my motorcycle to the hardware store, get the stuff that I need so that I can finish up this install. So I'm just going to basically go and just get 4 washers that I can have, that I can use as spacers, so that this bolt doesn't bottom out whenever I screw it into that bracket. I guess maybe this bracket was made specifically for a 2007 to 2009 FJ Cruiser, and it's not fitting this 2007 FJ Cruiser. So, well, I correct myself. It does fit. It's just I need to provide a little bit of space between the head of this bolt so that it snugs down. I'm not going to drive it like this. I'm going to have to take my motorcycle to the hardware store, buy the washers that I need. That's it. It's really it's a very, very, very small gap between the bottom of this and what is, like, how much space I actually need to tighten this thing down. But pretty easy install. You just have to remove your, I should have mentioned that before, just have to remove your skid plate, which I've already done. But once your skid plate's removed, you have easy access to your sway bar. So my washers are in now. There wasn't much that needed to be added to the, or taken away from the bolt length by putting the washer in. So regular washer thickness, it's fine. It's nice and snug. Fits great. And as you can see, I have about a full 1-inch gap with my tires turned all the way. I have about a full 1-inch gap with the sway bar, between the sway bar and my coilover right there. So that's it. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope this was helpful, informative, and all that good stuff. Make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe. Comment suggested ideas, things like that, or just what you like about the vehicle or don't like about it. I'm open to everything. So thanks a lot for watching, and God bless.